Well, here's one of my simplest mermaid designs. I have the front printed on fabric as well as a sewing guide. And then I sew them together and I sew around the shape. And I sort of forgot I didn't need to sew around the tail because I'm going to end up cutting that off. I have a ribbon or trim that's by Catherine's Collection, which is one of my favorite designers, and I'm going to turn this inside out and then cut that tail off, and I'm going to actually use a piece of the trim for the tail. When I saw the trim, I thought, oh my gosh, this looks like a mermaid's tail or fairy wings. So I bought everything I could find as usual, and I'm going to use them on the mermaid for the tail. So I've inverted her and I have to stuff it. And I use my scissors usually to do the stuffing, so I'm just going to stuff it pretty firmly. And here I'm just finishing the stuffing, just getting the rest in the head and then in the arms. And then here is the trim. Isn't this great? They're ginkgo leaves, I guess, but they have a little glitter on them, and I think the color is really, really perfect. And it's going to get glued on like this. So I have to color up the flesh tone since this is just white right now, and then I have to let that totally dry before I paint the back bottom of the mermaid. And here it is, it's totally dry, and I'm going to use my metallic fabric paints to paint the bottom of the tail. And of course I have to let that also totally dry as well before moving on to the next step. So here she is all dried up, and I'm just sewing up the top of the head, which I always do. Even though I cover it up with a hair, I always sew it up. I just feel like it looks neater. So this is what I use for the hair. This is a boucle yarn that's hand dyed by somebody in Maine at a store called The Yarn Seller, which is, by the way, a great store if you're ever in York, Maine. And it's right on Route 1. I did a video about that. It's on my channel if you want to watch it. So I'm going to glue that on like this and the tail like this. So before I do that though, I want to put a little glitter on these little star shapes. Since this doesn't have much glitter on it, I like to put some glitter somewhere, and this is where I'm putting it. And it just looks really cute with a glitter on there. So I'm just using my magenta glitter for that. And so here's my glue gun, and this is how I glue the hair on. After I glue the hair on, I always do a little extra gluing just to make sure the hair doesn't come out, unravel in other words. So I just put a little glue like here and on the other side as well, just to make sure that it doesn't unravel. And then the tail is going on there, and here I'm putting some glue on the tail, and I'm just going to press that on. And there she is. She's so cute. So the last thing that's left is just to put a string on her, and I got this great, it's bookbinding string, 4-ply waxed string, and I got it from a company called Royal Wood, and I just love it. So here she is, all done. Thank you for watching. See you next time.